So I'm glad to have everybody here today. Thank you all for chiming in on this webinar. I know everybody's zoomed out, but hopefully this will be worth your while. My name is Deanna Doan-Kreider, and I'm hosting this webinar today. And this webinar is about the Native American Rangelands Partnership, which is kind of the umbrella for a larger, it's a larger umbrella to cover the actual program that we're going to go over today in the webinar. The program is called the Native American Rangelands Training Program. And I wanted to thank our partners, which you can see at the bottom of the screen, the BIA, USDA Climate Hubs, Native American Fish and Wildlife Society, the Intertribal Ag Council, and the Intertribal Timber Council. And then I also want to mention that the Society for Range Management is actually hosting this program along with Forest Service and USDA NRCS, who have funded this program. So just move forward. I want to talk a little bit about who we are. Most of this you'll be able to see on our website, but again, my name is Deanna Doan-Kreider and I'm the project coordinator. There are a couple of us on the webinar today. Annette Bravo is one of them. She's an administrative assistant. Yvette Gibson is also a co-teacher and she has helped me design the course. And there are a number of other people in our advisory group who are going to be on this, but I'm not going to go through everybody because we have a huge advisory group. But I just wanted to cover what our roles are. Of course, the staff and instructors, this is a soft money grant. This is not permanently funded. So we are funded until the end of 2021. We already have some interest in continuing the funding, which I sure hope, because we have put a lot of work into this program and it's really coming to fruit now. This has been a late fruiting plant, but it is coming together very, very nicely. And so we're going to do our best to make sure that this stays online and remains as a resource for the tribes. As far as our staff goes, we are all contracted for this project, and that includes our administrative staff and our coordinators. But we also hire specialists for specific topics later when we want to teach different courses and things like that. So we bring people in as needed. Our advisory group, I recommend that you take a look at that on our website. And basically we put this group together to provide us with experiential and creative input regarding our projects, our courses, and our teaching approaches. This is a very, has to be a very creative and innovative program. We can't just make it, turn it into something that we've already seen everywhere else. That's the whole point of this project, was to adapt it for tribal needs. And our advisory group varies depending on the level of activities and our particular project. So we may have some that come in for a while, and then as needed, they may go tend to their work, and then we'll bring other people in and so forth. So you'll see that change over time. We will also be putting a tribal college advisory group together just in the next 2 weeks. And this involves colleges that are interested in hosting a range ecology course, and also the same folks that are helping us to assess the course feasibility and delivery for tribal colleges, which we'll talk about in just a minute. I wanted to tell just a little bit about the history of this project, because this has had quite an evolution. This project was funded through the USDA back in, I believe, 2016-17 by the Deputy Undersecretary Butch Blazer at the time for the USDA. He thought it was a great project. It was a need that was specifically identified by our tribal members at the Society for Range Management, who said, we're great with conferences, we're great with workshops, but what we really need is training for our tribal staff. So that's how we directed this project. Of course, at the beginning, because it hadn't really been done before, it took quite an evolution. It evolved over the next few years. And this group of people here was one of our focus groups that we held at Salish Kootenai College. And through these focus groups and talking to a lot of agency people, a lot of tribal staff, a lot of students and so forth, we finally put together something that we feel like will help address what the issues are. And even as we began to implement the program, we still identified a lot of needs and had to change and adapt accordingly. So here we are today. We're finally feeling like there's some real steam behind this engine, and again, we're always open to input, but a lot of our students are providing us with input as we develop these courses and so forth. So that's helped us a lot. So what is the initiative itself? The initiative itself has 4 different components. Of course, the main one was the rangeland training courses and the field workshops that are tailored for tribal and regional needs. I'm sure many of you have listened to many agency presentations and many webinars that are produced for public lands or for lands off of tribal lands, and they're just not targeting the specific issues that a lot of our tribal staff have today. And I also want to emphasize the fact that a lot of our tribal staff wear a lot of different hats. Many of you are on this webinar today and you are juggling a lot of different things, and range management is just one of those things. So the reason we developed this program was to have to avoid asking each one of you to go to school for 4 years for a range management degree, when we know you don't have time for that. We know you have full-time jobs, and when we know that rangeland management is just a part of what you do. So the goal of this project was to equip you with enough information and knowledge and experience to get you going out in the field, and then hopefully be able to come in with some sort of an advisory group that would be there on the ground to help you. So the way that this evolved was from originally an approach where we would have conferences and workshops to teach some of this material. Many of you said, we don't have time to attend these conferences. We don't have time to go to these workshops. You know, we're very busy. So that's why we opted for an online option first, and then we would follow up with field workshops and so forth. And most importantly, these training courses, hopefully by this time, are now focused on what some of your tribal and regional needs are. We're hoping, especially with this new class, you'll really see the difference. The second component, by the way, I'm going to open this up for questions too. Yes, Cheryl Simmons asked if there's a download of the slides. Cheryl, we'll have a recording of this and I'll post it on our website for you. The second component is our outreach toolkits for both Native American and Hispano land-based communities. We are in the process of developing those, and I'll go over that in just a minute, but that brings me to the third item, and that is our website. So our website is now launched, and I'm using a lot of these slides to highlight our website. And all of the materials that we develop in this class, in this program, will be available on the website. And then finally, the fourth one is an evaluation for an accredited online soils and rangeland ecology course for tribal students working with our tribal colleges. So I'm going to go through each one of those things. One of the things I did want to highlight, as we've all been affected by COVID, is that our scenario for our field workshops has changed. So we have put that on hold for now, respecting the need to protect the health of our tribal community members. So we are not planning on holding any workshops at this point, and we're looking at creative ways to be able to teach some of these field components without having to attend in person. But for now, we're really focusing on the online aspect of it. Okay, this is our website. It's www.nativeamericanrangelands.org, and you will see this changing on a weekly basis. We're really doing a lot of work on this website right now, and our goal is to make it the go-to place for you all. If you need something about rangelands, or if you need a manual, or if you need an experiential learning video or something, we want to put it on this website for you. And so eventually we'll be growing this. As you see here, all of our outreach toolkits will be on there. Annette Bravo right now is helping me develop a resource library. We're going to have all these publications and also have summaries of these publications. One of our advisory group members, and she was a former student, Renee Benally, called me one day and complained, and she says, I have like 9 manuals on my desk. I don't know which one to use. And so I listened to that, and we went back and started reviewing, and it can be very confusing. And so one thing that we try to do with this program is to help simplify things for you and just make it easy for you to do your job. So we'll be providing that information on the resource library as well. And then of course there's the online courses and our partnerships and so forth. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Rangeland Training Program. Again, this has gone through a bit of a metamorphosis. It's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. I'm hoping we're seeing the butterfly finally. But we have a number of students that started this program over 2 years ago, where we were borrowing Oregon State University servers off of a platform called Canvas to launch this class. At the time, it was literally the same class that was being taught to NRCS and to some other range folks at Oregon State University and so forth, and at that time had not been adapted for tribal use. Since that time, we've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work. So for the first time, we are now launching our new class on September 14th. Registration will start tomorrow. It was supposed to start today, but we were trying to iron through just a few little glitches. But you can go to our website to enroll in this class, and I'll talk about that class particularly in just a moment. But again, I want to emphasize that the class is free. And that it's to help you address some of your issues at the same time, helping you to meet your compliance requirements for any federal reporting and so forth. So we take in a lot of input as we teach this class. So if you do register and sign up, just please, make the communication airways open and let me hear from you. This class is going to be exciting to me because, it's having learned some of the challenges that we had from the past classes. Again, this class is designed for tribal staff that work with natural resources in any capacity. We've had soils people, we've had engineers sign up for the class. Anybody that wants to learn about range management and soil ecology is welcome to join. We also welcome agency liaisons. We've had Forest Service agency folks. We can take in anybody that wants to take the class as long as you're serious about it. Tribal college staff as well. And we're also willing to work with tribal college staff in a different aspect to make sure that they're equipped to teach the class in the future. And then I just recently had some inquiries from producers, and I'm certainly not going to say no. I think that if a producer wants to really focus on the information, they can stick with the class, and I think they could make it through without any problems. It is better if you've had a science class at some point, but the class is designed to address different education levels. So if you have a high school degree or an equivalency degree, then you're qualified to take this class. And if you have other science classes or a master's degree or whatever, you'll do quite well, but I'm sure we'll be introducing some new topics. Again, no cost to participants. And the new aspect of this next class is that it will be self-paced. One of the problems that we've had is that the class was on a schedule, and it was really, really difficult for people to keep up. So hold on just a second, because I think I had a hand raised, unless that was a mistake. So I'll answer questions. I will allow a lot of time for questions after this, just in case, but that hand just disappeared, so I guess it's not on here. But anyway, let's get back to the self-paced thing. One of the things that, we learned from that was that people were having a very difficult time with managing their jobs, managing their families, teaching homeschool after COVID. It got ridiculous. So we have restructured the entire course to where it's self-paced and students have up to 1 year to take the class. So, and again, we work with people. If we have somebody that's has an ailing elder or having problems at home and just can't keep up, we'll extend that 1 year. The reason we set 1 year is because we'll probably evaluate the course and then change it a little bit for at the end of each year, but that's not a big deal. There's no firm deadlines here, so we'll work with people. The most important thing for us is to keep you engaged and to get you the information that you need. This is not like college where we're going to make you jump through a bunch of hoops and give you stress just to take a test or something like that. We're here to help you. And then the other thing is that's very important for us is to stay engaged with you to ensure your success. So even though it's self-paced, it'll still be interactive. We'll be checking it every other day or every day and just making sure everything's going okay, that you're getting through your quizzes and you're getting through the material just fine. So keep that in mind. So we have these bundles, and I'll show you that in just a second. But once you finish the first bundle, which is a series of 3 courses, then you'll receive a certificate, and then you'll be eligible for continuing education units through Salish Kootenai College. And then also, I want to remind everybody that if you are a group of tribal staff that feel like you really want to launch a pretty strong range program, we'll help you put an advisory group together if you need that. We'll find people in your area, we'll find people in the region that can come and be kind of at your beck and call if you have questions about some soil erosion project or something that's going on that's, causing you some grief. Then we want to have people on the ground to help you. We don't want you out there floundering, because I know what that's like. So what have we learned? Number 1, staff have difficulty in following a scheduled course due to heavy workload. So we're changed to meet that. Instructors have to be readily available to help students with local and regional issues. Not everybody in Montana is going to worry about the things we worry about down in Arizona or New Mexico. So we're going to be able to attend to some of those questions you might have. We do understand that participants require close tracking and monitoring. I've almost lost some students because they had illnesses or because somebody in their family was ill and they felt like they just need to drop out of the class. We're not going to let you do that very easily. We're going to make sure that you stay engaged and that we do everything possible to make it easy for you to finish this class. We have learned that the program must be flexible and able to adapt to different cultural needs, which we depend on our students to help us do that. And then of course, we've got to have a course platform that has to be adaptable and user-friendly. So we're going to put Thinkific, which is the new platform that we're using, to the test. So we'll see how that goes. I did want to emphasize that we've had 211 students enrolled, but we've only had 10% of a completion rate. And that is because most students were unable to keep up with COVID and with everything else. And that's why we went to the self-paced class. And I know that probably somewhere on the order of at least 40 to 50 students that I can think of right now are waiting to register in the new class just to finish what they started. A lot of them made it almost halfway through or even more on the past class. Okay, so this is what the Thinkific platform is going to look like. It's a little bit more friendly and nicer to use than the Canvas. And so you'll see here, when you register for the class tomorrow or in the next 2 weeks, you will take this NARDI program overview. And basically what that is just an overview of how the class works. And then it'll also contain a survey that we would like for you to take, find out what tribe you represent or in what aspect you're working with tribal lands, and also your contact information, which is really important. We had a glitch in Canvas and lost a lot of our contact information, and we learned our lesson that we need to get everybody's regular emails and make sure that we stay in touch with everybody in case we have some huge nuclear explosion or something like that. We don't want to lose track of anybody. So this is going to be our new Thinkific platform, and I think you all will like it. So the way that the courses work is that we have these different tiers. The first one, of course, is just fundamental ecology. And then we have the second tier, which is rangeland ecology and grazing ecology and management. And combined, you will take those 3 classes as what we call a bundle. And once you take those 3 classes in a bundle, that will get you your first completion certificate, and that'll be your first 3 continuing education units with Salish Kootenai College. Once you pass those classes, then you can move on to tier 3, which is now conservation planning, monitoring and analysis, and restoration ecology. And that's whether you want to or not. The most important prerequisite is tier 1 and tier 2. But the rest is kind of voluntary. If you want to take it, you just get additional continuing education units. I highly suggest that you stay engaged because things are changing all the time. And then what we'll do for tier 4 is we'll provide you with special topics. We may actually create a mini class, like for 2 weeks on dryland farming or wildlife habitat management. I know that our folks in California have been chomping at the bit for that. So we're actually going to create separate classes for that. But always the tier 1 and tier 2, the bundle, fundamental ecology, rangeland, and grazing, will be the prerequisite. You will not be able to take these classes unless you've taken the first 3, because that's your basic ecology, and we feel like we have to go back and revisit a lot of that information when students try to jump ahead and take these other classes. So Thinkific is geared to where you have to pass a quiz at the end of each mini course to access the next one. And those quizzes are not difficult at all. And you can go back and revisit, and you can take them as many times as you need, or if you're having problems, then you call me and you say, I'm just not getting this concept. We often do webinars to meet with our students to see how everybody's doing. So just, this is just not your typical setup like a college class. And then once you get to the end of this class, you'll take a more open-ended essay type quiz to make sure that you understand the material. Now, we will give you a pre-quiz before each of these classes because we need to know how much you're learning. And so that's just kind of a reporting type issue, but it really does help us to understand if things are changing for you or if the class is too simple for everybody or whatever. So I just appreciate everybody taking those pre and post quizzes. Those are the easy ones. And then we'll have an open-ended essay type test that really, I just want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you're thinking. And it's not going to be the kind of strict grazing that you're normally used to in college. So, all right. In just a minute, like I said, I'll open it up and we can talk a little bit about questions about the classes, but I wanted to move on to our next project, and that's the feasibility assessment for an online soils and range ecology course for tribal colleges. So this year, Salish Kootenai College decided to be the guinea pig, and they jumped in and actually allowed 5 of their students to take the class with our students, and they all did very well. But now we're going to be packaging that information and transferring that straight to Salish Kootenai College so they can teach it there. We feel like we've kind of passed the test. They know their stuff now, and we can kind of just let it go. It's the same situation with other tribal colleges that want to do this. We would want to develop a relationship with you, make sure that any instructors that you have there have either taken or passed the material in this class, and then we can transfer the material for you to teach it at your own college. Now, there are some questions as to whether these classes themselves would maybe qualify students for some of the OPM, you know, if they're applying for a federal position, does it qualify for a range class, that sort of thing. We'll actually be looking at that in the future to make sure that these classes meet those requirements for like a technician position or some entry-level range technician position or something like that. We want to make sure that we're not setting students up for failure. So if you are from a tribal college and you want to join this advisory group, please contact me. I have my contact info at the end of the webinar for you to just give me a shout out. We'll be meeting in the next 2 weeks, so you have some time to get on to that advisory group. Okay, our outreach toolkits, we're working on that. We have some on the front burners, we have some on the back burners because of COVID, but the front burner projects are actually pretty cool. All of our outreach toolkits are going to be available on our website so that teachers and tribal councils and political leadership, anybody who wants to look at this stuff can look at it. If we end up doing video material, we will have that on our website. Right now, we're working on a great project in partnership with Native American Fish and Wildlife Society. We're working on a coloring book for children using botanical drawings of native plants that are important to different tribes. And so that's morphing as we speak, but that will be downloadable for Boys and Girls Clubs or family members or anybody who wants to give their child a sheet with a picture of a big blue stem grass, and they can color it and they can go out and go collect it and learn some important things about the plant. We'll have a variety of those tiles, and that they will be you know, according to each region. We'll have some up in the north and the southwest and so forth. So anyway, keep an eye out for that. Another really exciting project that we have is that we just established a relationship with the American Fish and Wildlife Agencies Association, AFWA, and they own a project called Project Wild. Project Wild is a series of activities that they use in the classroom to bring in things like wildlife and fish and birds, and have kids actually do math activities and so forth, things that they can bring into their actual course, you know, their class and testing requirements, but using wildlife and natural resources. So we're going to take about 18 of those activities and adapt them to tribal rangelands and make those available for teachers and for other, you know, youth centers and so forth that want to implement some of those activities. So those are 2 that are right there. The other one is that we're preparing presentations for tribal councils. We get some phone calls from people that want to be able to show something to a new incoming tribal council about the value of rangelands, the economic aspect of rangelands, how it contributes to the water table, how it cleans our air, how it sequesters carbon. So we are going to, Annette's actually helping me right now prepare some slide presentations for people to just download off the website and show to their tribal councils, along with providing them information on you know, ideas for, you know, day-long activities, do a range day, go out and look at different things, just helping them to understand the value of rangelands. So you can see here on the list all the different activities that we're going to have, and also helping out with clubs and so forth. So if anybody has any great ideas, just give us a call. We're always listening. So I think that's it for now. For more information, you can go to the Native American Rangelands.org website, or contact me if you have any questions or concerns or are having trouble enrolling. Like I said, we've been having a few little glitches with Thinkific, but I'm always available on the phone or on the email. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions now. If you do have questions, and if you don't mind, we're going to keep it muted because we do have quite a few people on the webinar. But for now, you can just type your question in the chat box or a comment or something, and I'll read it out to everybody. So go ahead. Oops, sorry about that. I'll get that back to, there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm not gonna open it up to questions and answers. We're just gonna do the chat box. So we've got 56 participants. All right. Oh, Rafael, good to see you. All right. So if there's no questions, then just take a look at our Rangelands website. That's www.nativeamericanrangelands.org. And I do have a couple of phone listeners. So my phone number is 830-431-2770. And you can also find my contact information on the website at nativeamericanrangelands.org. So that's probably the easiest way to track me down. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. I know you're happy to see that this Zoom actually lasted less than 30 minutes. Oh, okay, more of a comment from Iric. Okay, thank you so much for doing this. What a great job you guys have done. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. This has been a very long journey and a very painful learning experience, but it has been amazing. And so we're really hoping to, see how far this will go. And again, the only way this program is going to be successful is if we have input from people to make sure that it meets everybody's needs. And I will mention that for our new class, I don't know how many of you know Mr. Norman Hohola, but he is an elder for the Isleta Pueblo, and he's also very involved with Native American Fish and Wildlife Society, works for the BIA. He's actually going to be helping me to make sure that these presentations that we have within our class are adapted to tribal needs. So I think that's really going to add a lot to the quality of our program. Yes, this is a NRCS person, and if you are an agency liaison, you are certainly welcome to take the class. So yes, Maria, we look forward to having you on there. And because we're partners with NRCS, we have had liaisons with Forest Service. So yeah, you're welcome to. You're welcome. Okay, and my email again is diana@animopartnership.org. That's ANIMO partnership.org, not amino. I get people thinking it has something to do with amino acids. Animo means to encourage. So you can email me there, and also you can go ahead and track me down on the website. So I have a question here. Who should talk to my student group at Humboldt State University Indian Natural Resources Science and Engineering program? Oh my goodness, if you're talking about, about this program, if you're talking about just general information, the guy right below you, Emilio Tripp, would be really good. Emilio, you're asking a question that you already know the answer to, but I'm going to tell you again, because I know you're doing this for other people. How relevant to wild ungulates will this course be? On the third tier that you saw for the range and wildlife classes, we are going to be sure that we address your needs, because you're the one who's been ringing my bell about developing this class. So we will actually have an elk person helping me to develop the wildlife and rangelands wildlife class. I just want to encourage you guys to finish the class, the first tier. I should emphasize the first tier is all that's necessary if you want to take the additional classes. You don't have to take the second tier to qualify to take the special topics classes. The only one that's an absolute prerequisite are the first 3 classes in tiers 1 and 2. So Emilio, I know a lot of you practically finished that class. So if you enroll in this class, all you have to do is to pass those quizzes. You can even opt out of the class and just go and take the quiz at the end. And if you can pass it by 85%, then you can keep on going, because people who have already started this class can jump ahead pretty quickly. The timeline of the course, Bailey Bates is asking, if you take it intensely, you can finish it in about 8 weeks. So that's all 3 classes within tiers 1 and 2, which I recommend actually, because that way your memory is fresh. So I would recommend keeping up with it. But if you do lag a little bit, you can go back and review. Butch Blazer's on. He's asking us to help get the word out. So Ben Saxon, when you took the OSU class, I passed it all, no certificate. Yes, that is what happened, Ben. I'm sorry. We're waiting for everybody to finish that class so I can get all the certificates done at once, because it's not a paper certificate. I'm actually making a really nice plaque for you, and you're getting a t-shirt too. So hang in there, and I'll be contacting you probably within the next week or so to get your t-shirt size and to get that plaque sent to you. So. And yes, you did pass it. Congratulations. That's great. Let's see if I can go back here. Yeah, Emilio, that would be a great contact for you with Lonix Landry over there at Humboldt. And then Susan Marshall is up in that area too. She knows some people that can help you out. If not, just email me and I'll find somebody as well. Yeah, so yeah, Emilio, I hope you guys do jump in on this because it's going to be really exciting to develop that course for what your needs are. Actually, Eric, the question about will SRM recognize this for their certification, the answer is no. We have not been able to do that. And again, I want to focus more on making these more tribally relevant instead of spending a lot of time trying to meet those requirements. You can visit with Susan or some other folks about that at SRM, but for right now, we're focusing on just getting this up to par for what the tribes need and not so much for what SRM is requiring. We can talk about that more later. So, okay, let's see. Yeah, I think that'd be great, Lonix. Oh, I should mention, one of the things I forgot to tell everybody is that we're going to be doing a monthly webinar series. We have had some tribes, specifically up in Iowa, that have requested that they have a webinar series for their whole tribal council. So we're going to be starting a monthly webinar series. Our first one was actually by Dr. Michael Katutwa Johnson, who talked about dryland farming, and it was really well done. And I'll be posting that on our website because we recorded that as well. But we'll be looking for special topics, speakers, and also just presentations that will help tribes to launch their own range management program. Many of them have already been partnering with their BIA range specialists and so forth, and there's a lot of really successful models out there. And I also want to thank our BIA partners because we have a lot of range specialists there that have really been helping us with this. And hopefully BIA will be helping you all with some of your training needs too. So again, Emilio, if you lose touch with Lonix, go ahead and let me know and I'll put you guys in touch. Just make sure you send me your email addresses. And again, we're going to record this webinar. So. Okay, well, it sounds like I think we've wrapped up and I want to thank everybody. Spread the word for us. And we're going to be working very hard to get this Thinkific platform loaded to where it's going to be easy to use. Switching to a new platform is always a challenge. But again, we're waiting to hear from you and get your input. I want to thank everybody. Please be safe. Keeping all of you and your families in our prayers, and I really look forward to interacting with everybody. So you all have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye-bye.